get ready today and I want to talk about something that I don't know why. The algorithm has been showing me so many videos, basically being, why are all the influencers going broke? Why is your favorite influencer lying to you about having money? Why is it that no influencer actually is rich? And I actually kind of want to come at you with a different perspective, or maybe like explain, how is it, and I'm gonna get ready at the same time, how is it that some creators have the same amount of followers, but one person seemed to be rich, living it up, living in a mansion, having all this money, and the other creator who seemingly from the outside is doing the exact same thing at the exact same follower count is just struggling and go on TikTok or on social media saying, I'm broke, I'm not making any money. I think all influencers are lying about how much money they're making.
I think all these influencers are lying about being rich. I'm almost at 1 million followers. Broke as fuck. Well, not broke, but like I go to my regular minimum wage job every single day, 5 days a week, clock in. That's how I pay all of my bills. Is that my thing? I did my taxes and I only got 3 brand deals this year, each for $2,000, which works out to like $500 extra a month. Amazing, gorgeous. I can never be happier. But I'm just saying $500 a month is not livable, but I am super grateful for it. But I'm saying that's all that I got. Like, you could see, And I think just these influencers are lying to you. I think because they're either trying to sell you a course or tell you how great their life is after, you've insulted them. But there's nothing up here. I'm up here now with everybody else, and I'm telling you that there is nothing up here. And the fuck is this?
If you have not been here before, my name is Angelica, and I have been a content creator, a makeup YouTuber for over a decade. And I am not here to tell you that I am the end-all be-all of all of this and that I know everything that's going on and that I have all the answers to all of these problems. But I have been a full-time content creator. This has been on my full-time income for, I think, 5 years, and just this year, 2026, I did announce that I am no longer pursuing this as my full-time career. Instead, I want to pursue other things. And it was not because of money. So I wanted to come in and just chat about, why do I think that some creators are going broke while some seem to be doing seemingly fine with a smaller subscriber count? And I want to talk about like the inside of it all. Like maybe show you some things that you might have known, but you might not have known. And I want to connect the dots so that you understand why the creator economy is so difficult. I will not talk about any of the products that I'm using today because I'm just getting ready. I'm actually filming this on a Friday, but I will put the things that I'm using down in the description box in case you're interested in like, what was that foundation? What does she mean? Where can I find it? It will be in the description box. The first thing I'm going to mention is going to be something that you have heard before, and that is that the amount of subscribers that you have does not equal the amount of how big your income is. Engagement is how big your income is. How many people are actually watching your stuff? How many people are commenting? How many people are clicking on your links? How many people are engaging with the sponsorships that you're doing? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes the amount of subscribers does not even tell you how many sponsors you're getting. Because if you have 1 million subscribers and you get not as many views as someone with 100,000 subscribers, they're going to choose the one with 100,000 subscribers because A, they're probably going to charge less, and B, they clearly have a more engaged audience. And also something that they are looking for is how many people are clicking on your links. Also, a reason why someone with 1 million subscribers or followers, depending on the platform, might be making less is that maybe they are not with the management. And management really helps you. A lot of people think that managements are like assistants. That's not what management does. Management talks to the brands for the creator. Most creators are not very business savvy. And I think if anything, this trend with why all creators are going broke has taught us that most creators are not very business savvy. They don't know how to negotiate a contract. They don't know how to put a fair rate for themselves. They don't know how to pay taxes and save money and invest and think about the future.
2025, meaning January, February, March, April, and May, we're in June, I've paid $1.3 million. How much am I gonna have to pay? I don't know. You haven't paid your, you're gonna make me cry. You haven't paid your taxes? Are you gonna, can you help me? No, stop. I'm gonna call my money guy. You haven't paid your taxes? Well, I'm just a girl. I just live out here. I don't know. Oh no.
That's not what a lot of creators are the best at. So having a management, someone that will negotiate the terms for you, find the deals for you, and also if you have a successful campaign, they're able to show that to other advertisers and you can get more campaigns. That is what managements help you with. And if you do not have a management, or if you have a bad management, that might not benefit you and you might get less deals of that because of that, even though you have good engagement and even though you have a lot of subscribers. I will say, when I say a bad management, I don't even mean a management that's like taking your money or like giving you bad deals. I mean, if you are too small or too big for the management that you have, you should be in a management that has creators of your size. Because if you are the smallest creator in a management that only deals with huge accounts, you're not going to get a lot of deals because they're going to choose the big accounts instead. Like if you have 100, I used to be with a management that only had people that were in the millions. I didn't get any sponsorships from them because what is Pepsi gonna do with me? What is Walmart gonna do? Like, what are these big brands gonna do with me when they can choose someone that has 5 million on TikTok? They don't care about me. Right now, I'm with a management that has more mid-sized accounts and I'm really happy with them. They're finding me like brands that I actually really want to work with. And I also say no to a lot of them, but like, you need to find a management that works for you. Having a management does not necessarily mean that it's gonna equal making more money. Also, eventually, if you're not business savvy and if you are, I wanna say 100K or more, having a management probably will make the difference between making a livable wage versus not. But not if you are on YouTube, because I do wanna say that a lot of these people that are like, I'm not making any money, I have so many subscribers, so many followers, I'm not making any money. Most of them are on TikTok. And TikTok doesn't really, they do to an extent, but not really, not like YouTube. They don't pay for the views.
The reality of being a content creator with over 200,000 followers is I'm broke. I go viral literally every single week. Every week. I got like over 8 million views this past month. I have like loyal fans, you know, but I'm just like, yo, I had $101 in my bank account yesterday. Last month, the creator fund paid me like $70 because I make a lot of short form videos that aren't over 1 minute long.
You can get millions of views and you just will not get that much money for, they don't pay for the views. So if you are on TikTok, you are depending on making money in a different way. This could be through a TikTok shop, which turns you into a QVC presenter. And if that was not the life you were dreaming of, you might be disappointed by this. This is actually the main reason why I have not dove that much into TikTok, because I don't like the idea of like I'm too old, okay? I remember TV shop, okay? I remember the QVC thing and I remember hating it then, and I kind of think it's my worst nightmare to turn into a QVC presenter now in my 40s. I don't see that being a fun time for me. But if you are on TikTok, you might not be able to live out of the creator fund unless you are the top like 1% of people. I bet people that get millions of views on each TikTok they're putting out, they're probably making enough money to live out of that. Maybe not the lifestyle that they're used to, and we'll get to that in a bit, but you could probably make a livable wage out of that if you get millions of views. Most people don't get that. But on YouTube, you could probably make a livable wage. I'm talking like something that you could like, you know, you pay your rent, you're doing okay, getting much less views than that, because YouTube does pay the creators much more and much earlier. It is much easier to live out of what's called AdSense. AdSense is the ads that are shown to your viewers and you get a cut from that from YouTube, and basically you can make a paycheck out of that. When I did YouTube full-time, I could have made a livable wage out of just my AdSense almost every month since I quit my job and only did YouTube full-time. And I think that for a lot of TikTokers, that is not possible. And that's why I also will say platform matters. If you are on YouTube and if you are not getting into, lifestyle inflation or want to live in a mansion in LA, you could make a livable wage on YouTube much easier than you could on any other platform. But it is also harder to grow on YouTube. It is harder to amass a community on YouTube of people who actually want to watch your stuff. And YouTube and long form content have definitely been struggling since the pandemic. People have not been as interested. I do think that it is a little bit of a renaissance coming back though, and people are interested in long form content again. Maybe not exactly the way they were before, trends come and go. But I think overall, long form content is making a little bit of a comeback. But we even see creators on YouTube that have been, having a lot of viewers, having a lot of sponsorships, having a lot of success, and all of a sudden they go broke. And they have much less views than I have ever had. And I was able to make a living of this for 5 years with less views. Why couldn't they? And I think, the answer is easy. It's lifestyle inflation. You make more money, you spend more money. And a lot of people, they start making a lot of money and they change their lifestyle to match the income that they now have. They buy a big house, they travel maybe a lot more than they used to. And even though they are maybe now making tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars each month, they are still living paycheck to paycheck. This is not unusual. And I will say, and this is something also that I think matters, maturity matters. I got on YouTube when I was in my 30s. I do think that it matters. If you have had a full-time job before, if you have been dealing with, everyday life and, financing your house, your home, your life, paying for groceries and paying for bills. If you have done that before, making some extra money on YouTube is not going to change the knowledge that you already have about finances and how to make stuff happen and, all of those things. So I do think that sometimes maturity definitely makes a difference. And I do think that sometimes the platforms themselves are not making it easy enough for younger creators to realize that the money you're making is not taxed. You need to save money for taxes. Because I do see a lot of creators saying, I don't have any money because the IRS cleared out my bank account.
I've owed 1.3 million in 5 months, and you haven't paid a cent. What do you have that money? Cry all you want, but they're going to take away your car. They're going to take everything. That nice little Rolex, gone. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. Pay your taxes. No. How about you send a letter to the IRS saying, I'm just a girl. I forgot. Can I say I forgot? No, they're going to I'm telling you, they're going to take you to jail. But I literally can just look at them and be like, I didn't know. They're going to say, I don't care. Babe, this isn't your mom and dad. This is the government.
Well, that only means that you didn't save any money for taxes. That's your fault. You're supposed to save money for taxes because you are now either running a business, you're an entrepreneur, or you're a self-employed, depending on what country you're in and how much money you're making and all of that. But you can't just spend the money you're getting in. You need to have a plan. You need to pay for taxes, and you can't just spend it all and then come tax season you realize should have saved some of that. It doesn't work like that. And I do think that maturity comes into it then, because I knew when I started making some extra money on YouTube when I was still working full-time as something else, I knew, oh, this isn't just extra money that I can blow. I have to save this money. I have to pay taxes for this money. I immediately knew that I had to contact some kind of an accountant to help me with all of that. But I do think a lot of people don't think about that when they are getting some extra money on YouTube. And I also think that this is probably the biggest reason why a lot of creators are going broke. And even though you're like, how could you go broke? You probably made millions. And it's because they're treating this as some kind of a stable stream of income, while in fact they should treat this as an extra, as a peak, as something that could end at any point. Literally, any point. You could make $100,000 today and be canceled tomorrow, even for reasons, I'm gonna be honest with, outside of your control. You never know. Your platform could just be banned. Your account could get canceled. There's so many things that can happen that honestly it's outside of your control. The game that you're streaming on Twitch is no longer popular and you're not good at any other games. There are so many reasons why you could lose your income with social media, and a lot of people are treating it like this much money has been coming in for 2 years. It's for sure going to continue. But in fact, they should treat it as a season, like you're an athlete or a model. Like this can end at any point, and you better have a plan for that. One of the things that people are missing when they're talking about this lifestyle inflation is what kind of content are you doing? Because there is a lot of people who are pretending to be rich that are appealing to a younger population, where it's like, look at how successful I am. Look at how great it is. Like their whole account is about being a successful creator, a successful influencer. So you kind of have to like fake it until you make it. But most of them, they never make it, they just fake it. So they're renting cars, they're renting mansions, they're borrowing things, they're leaning against strangers' cars, taking pictures to make it look like they are in fact the people who are making money and looking successful.
I had some friends that lived in mansions just for the sole purpose of wanting to be able to throw parties and have people come over and make content in there. Literally paying people's yearly salaries like $30,000, $40,000 a month just to rent this huge house. So for those of you that were also wondering, like, why do a lot of these influencers have big houses but they're fucking empty? Not even joking, to get some good quality furniture in there, it's gonna cost you like $500,000. And don't even get me started on their Uber ego. It's like people reach a certain amount of followers and all of a sudden they can't use Uber X. Ew, we can't pull up to this party in a Prius. Order an Uber Black. Why would we spend $250 to pull up to a party when we could spend $19.99? Half the cars that you see these people whipping around are rentals, and they're spending like $300, $500 a day just to whip it around and try to act like they're somebody they're not.
In the line of work that I have been doing, which has been makeup reviewing, I will say you definitely don't need, I think some people will say, oh, you definitely need to buy a lot of makeup to make it. You honestly really don't. You just gotta have like a personality. I mean, most of the people who are actually, and I think that this is overlooked so much, and I don't understand why people aren't talking about this more. People are following you because of your personality. And I don't care what you think, you cannot purchase a personality. If you have a great personality, just honestly, you could do anything and you could make this into a career. You don't need to spend money to be a creator, but you need to think about what kind of field you want to be in, what kind of creator do you want to be, and also what is an acceptable living wage for you. Because I say I've been living like working full-time as a creator for 5 years. I haven't been making millions. That's not a paycheck now, is it? That's a pipe dream. That's not most creators. And I think that if you are planning, if you're getting into this to be a Jeffree Star, a Jaclyn Hill, a Manu MUA, and making a lot of money, and I'm sure those people have made a lot of money and they have invested a lot of it and spent a lot of, and that's the thing. The difference between being a creator who makes it long term or being a creator that doesn't go broke is you can make a lot of money and you can spend it, but you can't spend it all. You have to save some for a rainy day. You have to invest some. You have to think about, what am I going to do when this is over? And I think a lot of people that say, oh, I'm not making any money as a creator. Like I saw this one TikTok of a girl saying, I'm up here and there's nothing here. I don't want to say you're doing it wrong, but like also what are you expecting to find up there? Are you thinking you're going to make $1 million a month, or are you thinking you're going to make maybe 4,000 a month? Because you could definitely make that happen with like the right like tactic about it. Like I said, with lifestyle inflation, people spend all the money that's coming in thinking more money is going to come in and not really thinking about, okay, so the day that nothing comes in anymore. I'm going to use this new palette by Fantasy Cosmetics, and I think I'm going to use this green one. Of course I am. Who's surprised? Not me. They're not spending enough time thinking, what am I going to do when this is over? Because a lot of these people who say, like, I'm not making enough money anymore, they want to be creators, but they don't want to go and get a quote-unquote normal job. I think in like 10 years, being an online creator is probably going to be seen as a normal job. But I think it's been like so glorified. I think that people are out here thinking that all creators that say that they work full-time as a creator is out here making millions. No, we're just out here paying our bills, saving some for a rainy day, and planning for the next step. What is the difference between the bigger creators that seem to not be struggling, even though their views are declining and maybe they're not getting as much sponsorships or they're not as popular anymore? What is the difference between them and other creators when they're not being too mad about it? It's probably that they planned for it. They knew that there's going to be a day when they're going to get less views. Their platform is no longer going to be around. Looking at you, Vine. Or that maybe they grow tired of it. Maybe they feel like they want to explore something else. Like for me, I felt like I want to explore something else. I don't think it's good for my mental health to be an online personality full time. I want to be more, on my own terms. Like I want to decide. And a lot of people, when I say that like they plan for it, like I'm an athlete, you're making a bulk of money. Because I definitely had a time in my online career where I made more money than some of my other years. I would say those years were probably 2020, 2021, 2022. Those were the good years, okay? Not that the other years were bad. Still able to, pay my mortgage and pay my bills and like live my life. But I didn't spend that extra money. I treated myself, definitely.
But I think that most influencers are going to end up going broke, and I'm going to explain to you why I know this. I'm saying most, not all. Just keep that in mind. It's pretty comparable to being an athlete, a famous athlete. Just keep that in mind while I'm speaking, because we have real stats from athletes. We don't have as many stats from influencers. I went to an event 7 years ago, and this lives just rent-free in my mind. It was hosted by a popular Instagrammer called The Fat Jewish. And if you don't know who that is, then I think it just kind of further proves the point. And at this event, he explained that what happens to famous people is one of two things. Either your platform is fleeting, so think like eventually in sports, like you retire or you might get an injury, but like think of for influencers like Vine, that what happened to Vine, or TikTok potentially getting banned in the US. The other thing is that you might be fleeting. Hey, you might get canceled. You might not want to do this forever. You might retire. Like you might not want to make YouTube videos for the next 30 years. So one of those two things can happen to you or will happen to you, which brings me to my second point. How many influencers do you know or athletes do you know that have really stayed relevant long term?
You see a lot of influencer brands, but it is influencers realizing that all this knowledge that I have, all these things that I've learned during these years that I've been online, I want to put my focus into something else, something that I can do when I no longer want to be or when I no longer can be a creator. And for me, like I started my own brand, Cinch Beauty. I have been working with indie makeup for 10 years. I had learned so many things. And I was like, I have ideas of stuff that I want to do for myself. This, of course, is not for everyone. That's also why you see a lot of creators are starting online courses. But I will say, I don't think you need that. All the things that I've ever seen people teach you in online courses, some are excluded. You can find for free in different places. There are definitely some that I think can be helpful and that can be good for you. But overall, I think you should be a little skeptical, especially when there are creators that are like, I'm going to teach you how to make this much money every month. And it's like, I want to see you break that down. How much of that are you making from the thing you're trying to teach me? And how much of that are you making from teaching others to do the thing that you're clearly not even able to do successfully yourself? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And that's why you see some creators that they're not doing as many videos anymore, and when they do videos, they maybe don't get as many views as they did from before, but they're still not stressing about it. They're still not making TikToks saying all creators are lying about their income and everybody is broke, because they planned for this day. They knew this day was coming, and they are okay with now taking a step back or making less money. Maybe they've already got another job. I know creators that worked full-time as creators, and now they are working behind the scenes for different brands that they got to know during the time that they were creators. That's the dream for some people. That's what they want to do, and that's not a bad job. I know creators who work for brands, customer service or PR relations, And it's not a bad idea to have that, or maybe in the future they can do that full time instead. There are also creators, again, like I said, they started their own brands. Maybe they went back to their to the job that they had from before. I know people who has done that as well. That's like, I think I'm done with creating. I want to go back to doing the thing that I did from before. Or maybe there are people that was able to invest enough money that they can live off that money. I definitely think some of those bigger people that you're seeing, they never have to work again. They made some investments, they probably own property, and I think that being smart with your money when you have extra money is going to be the difference between feeling stressed about your career as a creator waning down and not. I know for myself, like I said, my biggest years were probably 2020, 2021, 2022. But I wasn't really stressed the other years because I invested my money into my brand and I also bought a house. I thought I did great. I set myself up for the future. So now that I'm making videos, I can still enjoy this without stressing about, oh my God, where's my next paycheck coming from? And I know other people like this. It isn't a win or lose situation. It's not the end of the world if things weigh down a little bit. I want to use a little bit of this eyeliner. I'm going to use the EO12 or the E12, not the EO12, the E12 from my own brand, just to sharpen this up a little bit. So when creators are saying, I'm going broke, I'm not making any money, I think it is probably true and false at the same time. I think a lot of people that are saying that they are not making any money anymore. I'm looking at you, Tara's World.
How the hell do you go from making $350,000 a month as an influencer to now where you're on this app crying that you cannot afford your $25,000 a month mortgage? Like, sell your house. That's the first thing most people are thinking when they hear that you're struggling to pay a $25,000 per month mortgage. And also, you're telling me while you were making $350,000 a month, you didn't think that it would have been a good idea to save any of your money? I have no ounce of sympathy for you whatsoever. Because again, there's no way you were making $350,000 and you didn't save, nor did you invest any of that money for a rainy day.
Is that the one? I think you're not making as much money as you want to. You are probably still making tens of thousands of dollars each month, but you want to be making the kind of money you made on your peak. But she's not realizing that that was your peak and now you're on the other side of the peak and you have to adjust to this new income. If you didn't save any money from that peak for your plan B, for your next adventure, to, set you up for a nice rest of your life, well, you're just gonna have to look at that peak as being, this was a time in my life where I got to live as a rich person, even though I no longer am. And I think this is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of creators. I also think that a lot of creators that are saying, most creators, I even see numbers of people like 95% of all creators that are like saying they're like rich or saying they're living as a creator are lying. I don't think that's true at all. And I think a lot of people, just because they are not understanding how they are making it work, they're thinking nobody is. But there are definitely ways. And also, you need to be a little bit realistic about this. You can't think that you're going to be, not all of us are going to be Mr. Beast or Michaela. Like, that's not the kind of money that you need to make also to make this a career. Most of the people out here making money on social media are not making those sums of money. They're making money that covers their life. Sometimes they'll have a peak, something is booming, maybe they have a trend that they're gaining a lot of views on, maybe they're getting a lot of sponsorships all at once, maybe there's a pandemic when everybody's staying home looking at things, maybe they have a collab with a brand. And what you do with that money is going to set you up for whether or not you are going to be able to exit this life with some kind of like honor or not. Because there are definitely creators right now that are trying to make as much money as they did when they were in their prime. They don't want to leave their mansion. They don't want to stop buying designer things. They don't want to stop having Uber Blacks or door dashing every day, or living that big lifestyle that they did on their peak. And therefore they are now saying, please donate to my GoFundMe. Please buy my merch. Please donate to me on my TikTok lives. There are definitely creators out there doing that, but I don't think that that is like the majority of creators. I think most of the creators that I know that are making a full-time or a part-time income on YouTube, they are being smart with their money. They are not spending it on frivolous things. They are realizing that this might end tomorrow. They are planning for the future, and they are not thinking or believing that the internet owes them millions to be a big creator. But also, depending on what field you were in when you were a creator, maybe there isn't a brand that you could do or a brand that you could start that like makes sense for you as creator. Like I said, for me, I've been reviewing indie makeup for a decade to start my own indie brand, even though first I said I didn't want to, because I said the main reason was and this was early in my YouTube before I did YouTube full time. I said I didn't want to own my own indie brand because I didn't think that I could contribute anything new to the industry. The longer I reviewed indie makeup, the more I got into this community, the more that I was able to learn from the brand owners and got in touch with different kind of like labs and started to understand what really went into it. Oh my God, I'm trying to close this box, but I'm not figuring it out. The more I realized that is not true. I actually do have a lot to contribute, and I started saving money to start my own brand. And you could start your own brand with less money than I did. I definitely am a little bit of a perfectionist, and it's definitely doable on less money. If you are a creator in a sphere where your idea is to show how fun your life is. Your life is so exciting, you're going to Coachella, you are buying a Porsche, you are living in a mansion, you're going to all of these parties. What brand are you starting? What venture are you going into? Are you going to start a car dealership? Are you going to be like starting a clothing brand? Or like, what are you doing? And that's the part where I'm like, you need to maybe put even more thought into, okay, so what is your exit strategy? And I think that, again, it's not that easy to have an exit strategy if your whole idea online is, look at how successful I am. And in fact, if you're no longer successful, again, what is your brand going to be about? And I'm not trying to shade anyone online or to be like saying, oh my God, you're lying, or this is not true, or you're not successful. That is never my that's never what I want to do here. But I wanted to give some perspective, because I do think that a lot of times these things or these numbers are being thrown around by either people who don't want to disclose exactly how much money they're making. They're saying, I'm going broke, but actually they're making still tens of thousands of dollars each month. Or they have never worked full-time as a creator, and they think that everybody who is lying about it because they have never been able, or they were not able to get like a great community around them and to be able to make it into a career that's sustainable, and therefore again they think that nobody else was. And I am not here to shame anyone again and say that anybody is doing anything wrong. I just wanted to give the perspective of someone who was able to have this as a full-time career for 5 years, and to tell you what is the reason that some people aren't, or what is the reason that some people maybe are acting a little bit desperate online, saying like, oh my God, where's my money? Please donate to my new mansion because I'm not even able to pay the electricity bill anymore. And it could just be because we don't have enough knowledge about the people that are in I feel like we talk so much about the creators that don't make any money, or the creators that make millions of dollars. I don't think we talk enough about the creators that are making minimum wage and making making do, or the people that are making good money but are not rich or millionaires and are not complaining about it. And I think that that's the perspective that's maybe missing online, because I think that people either think you are poor or rich, and because nobody in the middle layer is talking about it, I think everybody's pointing fingers. It's that Spider-Man meme, but everybody's pointing at each other and saying everyone is lying. And I don't think that people are lying. I just think we're missing some layers and some perspectives. I'm gonna put my lashes on, I'm gonna change my battery, and I'll come back and show you whatever this turned out to be. I realized I didn't put any blush on. Let me put some blush on. This is actually my most used blush from Cinch Beauty. This is Classic Cloudberry. It is the neutral blush with a little bit of a golden peach sheen. And oof, I love this one. I've been using it so much. You can hear the banging in the background, but the renovations of the unit downstairs continues, basically. I think the creator economy and the influencer word, like, I think all of that is so new that people are yet not deciding how they feel about it. And I think this way of working will change a lot throughout the next couple of years. It's been what, like 15 years or something now where this has been some kind of a career for some people, and people are saying, oh, it's getting saturated, the creator economy is dying. I don't think that's true at all, but I think that people need to manage their expectations. For most people, this will just be a fun outlet. For a lot of people, this will be a nice way to make a little bit of extra money, but again, manage your expectations and don't think that you need to spend some to make some. You definitely do not need to spend some to make some. A lot of people that you think are rich on social media is rich because people are paying them to be as rich as them, not realizing they're rich because you're paying them to. Like, you see the Ponzi scheme of it all. We don't need that. But I also think that just because some people are making it doesn't mean that everybody is going to make it that big. And just because some people are saying, I am able to make a career out of social media, doesn't mean that everybody is making the same. Not every engineer or doctor is making the same money. Some doctors are specialized or famous and they're making millions, while some doctors are still making a good livable paycheck and they're making maybe more money than a lot of people, but they're not out here buying mansions in LA. And I think that it is important also as creators to figure out what kind of creator do you want to be. Do you want to be a creator that comes on in a couple of years saying, I made a lot of money and I spent it all just because you were trying to live up to a lifestyle that, I'm gonna be honest with you, most creators do not live. And I think that's the part that the creator economy is probably going to be changing within the couple of years, where people are going to be realizing that I don't even know who wants to watch that. Who wants to watch 19, 22-year-olds driving in Lamborghinis, and like who's interested in that lifestyle? I just don't foresee that being something that's going to be a long-term career for anyone. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the boomer. Maybe I'm not getting it at all. But I hope that you enjoyed the Get Ready With Me. I realized I did not put a shimmer on. Should I put a shimmer on? Should I put a shimmer on? Let's put a shimmer on. But I hope you enjoyed the Get Ready With Me. I'm going to put on a little bit of this one up in the corner here. And I hope you're having a great day. And I do upload videos, I want to say weekly. Lately, it's been more than one a week. Ooh, that's actually really pretty. I like that a lot. And I just moved. If you didn't know, if you want to see a video of like where I moved and why I moved, that video is already live. I'm actually going to do a video real soon where I talk about all the things that's gone wrong with our move so far, because we have definitely hit a couple of snags during our move. Oh, I don't want it that far up. That's looking really good. I'm gonna make a video out of that. But if you want to see more makeup videos, if you want to see more chatty videos like this, please let me know. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Leave a like if you like it. Sorry about the renovation sounds in the background. I need to wash my hands, and I will see you very soon in a new video.